We're diving deep into the celestial and the infernal, exploring the origins, roles, and mysteries of angels and demons across theology, folklore, and pop culture. From divine messengers to shadowy tempters, discover why these beings still haunt our stories, shape our fears, and stir our imaginations. Heaven and hell are closer than you think. Tonight on Newsworthy, two words and two question marks.
He's alive! Have you checked the children? Get out!
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. Two words and two question marks.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
Jerry, I can't believe I've done this.
What?
I've been looking all over for it, but I have just lost all of my research on how to stop nonstop itching.
Really?
Gosh, I'll just have to, start from scratch.
There you go. We love that.
That was grand. Welcome to Newsworthy. Two words, two question marks. I'm Steve. That
And I'm
guy over there
Jerry.
is Jerry. Brett is not here tonight. Do you know why Brett's not here?
Why is Brett not here?
His wife deemed it necessary to be born on a Wednesday.
Mhm. Shame on Miss Truly.
Do you not think she could have had a little bit more? What are you doing? Why?
The fans want.
No. The fans do not want to hear your stupid candy wrappers opening.
They tell me otherwise.
Anyway, back to Brett's selfish wife. She had to be born on a Wednesday. So he's not here. He's doing birthday duty with the wife.
How do you know she was born on a Wednesday?
I don't. But today is a Wednesday, so that's what matters.
Gotcha.
I mean,
How dare she be born on a day that could eventually have a birthday on a Wednesday?
exactly.
My goodness.
Gosh.
The audacity of the woman.
Thank you.
We love you.
And then Brett try to earn brownie points by actually being there. What the heck? Priority, son.
Yeah, I'm telling
There's
you.
a reason his name's not on the banner. Happy birthday, Miss Truly. We love you. If we didn't, we wouldn't
That
give you
we
such
do.
crap. Hey, my daughter is on many social medias. She does art. She does games. She's great. Go check her out.
She's still making
Yep.
the stuff.
Yep.
We need to order them her sometime.
She doesn't do that as much, but yes, we do need to do that. She made peanut butter roll the other day, and her
Really?
peanut butter roll slaps.
Everything
But-
I've ever had she
Yeah.
baked was really good.
So anyway, she Mochi's Monsters. Go check her out. Mochi Matsta. That's it. Go check her out. She's awesome. But whenever she's on, I get notifications. And if I'm not busy, I like to just pop up, say, hey, I love you, proud of you, whatever. I did that today. Well, no, I had called her. I didn't realize she was on TikTok streaming. She does
Okay.
all the platforms. And I know she was streaming live. I just called her, said, hey, just thought she's amazing. That's all. Click, hung up. And she called me back. She goes, hey, I'm streaming on TikTok. Come check me out. I was like, all right. So I log in. And she told her TikTok followers, she got like, I don't know, just on TikTok alone, like 50,000 followers.
Nice.
And she's like, just want to let you know what my dad did. That was really cool. And the amount of people that came back and was like, I wish I had a dad that did that.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah. So
That
if
so
you're-
many are envious of such a small.
just a small
gesture.
gesture. Yeah, just something to say, hey, I'm proud of you, you're amazing, whatever. Keep
Yeah.
doing what you're doing, whatever. I think that's very important.
Huge.
And I'm speaking to you men out there with children. As your children age into adulthood, it is still okay and vitally important to let them know how proud of you, how proud of them you are, how much you still got their back. You and I both have adult children.
Yep.
And the relationships change. It's not like it's not a parenting per se relationship. It's more,
For a friend.
it becomes a friend,
Sure.
a mentor, someone who's been there and could be given safe.
Hopefully, but that part's up to them.
Yeah.
At this point, all we can do is be friends.
Be friends and be ready for some good, thoughtful wisdom advice from something we've done in our life.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean you can't be proud of them. And if you are, you damn sure better say it, because just from the response in her feed, that's not happening.
Way too often.
And it needs to.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
So, I'm off my soapbox yet. I didn't even mean for that to become a big thing. But when I saw one of her listeners in particular, immediately, man, I wish I had a dad that would do that. And it just broke my heart. Like, I almost wanted to type, I'll be your daddy. But I got enough kids. Speaking of enough kids, guess what I'm doing January 31st?
What are you doing?
I'm having an all family, Robin, myself, and 4 of my boys are all sitting down at a table for 10 to 12 hours to play Twilight Imperium with all the expansions. I'm so excited. I can't tell you, since they have all grown, most of them have children now of their own. It's so hard to get together and just spend time
Sure.
with the kids.
One of them lives in Arizona.
He's
so-
back. He just
Oh,
moved
okay.
back
I
to
didn't know he
Kentucky.
moved back.
moved out near
Nice.
Fort Knox.
Nice.
But yeah, it's always been so tight to get time now that they've all grown to get them together.
Sure.
And we get to do that on that day. I know
Very
that's
nice.
stupid. We have
Late Christmas present, but a great Christmas
Absolutely.
present.
I'd trade that over any present I could ever
Absolutely.
get. So
Absolutely.
anywho,
Earlier you mentioned about you was thinking of, no, I'm not going to go there. Never mind. Go ahead.
well, that was abrupt. For all of you,
I had a joke I was going to do.
we have had Jerry tested. Given his elder statesman age, he does not have forms of dementia. Just for his shirt actually says, "I thought growing older would take longer," and he's not wrong. We're all getting old. But anywho,
By the way,
holiday. Go ahead.
do you know where terrorists go when they die?
Where?
Everywhere. There's a lot of fun with joke of that.
You do know we have many listeners, and
That's why I did such a respectful joke.
Thanks. Oof, rough.
What, you disagree?
No, not at all. Depending on the terrorist, I guess. Mm-mm-mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Sorry.
That's reminiscent of earlier tonight with the turpentine and corncob discussion. Mm-mm-mm.
Ooh, there you are. With that.
There, who is?
I have
You
no
see
idea.
someone I don't?
Yeah, there was somebody on public chat there. Good
Oh.
for them. Yeah.
See, going along with their topic for tonight, which is, by the way, angels and demons,
Yes.
and I'm covering demons. I was just getting into my part a little early.
Well, what we decided to topic, how we decided who was choosing what was based on how closely related to each we were. I am very much more angelic than Jerry. I even have a halo. And Jerry is very much more demonic.
That is
So
not what they say. Just say.
you're wrong. I have it written right here. I got a
That
message just a
is
second
not
ago.
what they say. Please read your, no, don't read your message. Show your message. Show your message.
Well, I would, but my sources are, I can't
Wish to
disclose
remain
them.
anonymized?
Yes.
Okay.
So a couple of announcements, and then we're going to get to it because we got a
Okay.
long show. First thing is, folks, starting in December, we are taking the entire month off of the air in December. Now, do not think we've closed down shop. We are
We're
not
not.
going anywhere. We'll be back on January 7th. The first 2 weeks are going to be working vacation days for us, if you will. We are going to be revamping, reworking, retooling everything about Newsworthy to make it a better, more awesome product for
Yeah.
you.
A couple of weeks ago, we announced we was going to take a 2-week break.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be a 2-week break and only a 2-week break. But as you mentioned, the rest of the month is preparing for the transition.
Right. We're going to be working. We'll be in studio working, doing new promos, new everything for the first 2 weeks. That's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be here, but we just don't have time to do that and make a good episode that's worth listening for you.
We also have to make sure that we've got plenty of, I mean, that takes some
There is
work.
a very strong possibility before we start in January, I will break all of Jerry's fingers. So he
When
can't
you
do
started
that.
saying I want to break all his candy, I thought I should buy more.
Well, yeah, I
I know
know.
I
you-
can buy more fingers.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'll just make them inoperable. So that's that. Secondly, normally during this time, we always like to put out a message of compassion for people who don't have other people. This is a very depressing, for folks that have family and friends, this is a great time of year. It's wonderful. People are celebrating. For people that have recently lost a loved one or have no family, this is a unbelievably depressing time of year.
Also, Christmas itself is a hugely depressing time for so many people that do have tons of people that they love and care about, thinking, because we as a society have impressed upon people that to show people you truly love them, you need to buy them a lot of stuff. There's so many people that don't have the money to be able to buy what they want, that alone is hugely stressful and shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's not what any of this holiday should be about.
All I'm saying is if you are having a big holiday festival and you know somebody who doesn't have somebody, invite them to your house, take them out. We don't do Thanksgiving anymore. Back a couple of years ago when I got very sick, I couldn't cook. I didn't feel like it. So we started going to Cracker Barrel. And that's just become our thing on about, Thanksgiving. Now we very much like it. It's just me, my wife, and my mom. We go, we have a good time. I usually try to tip my waitress 50 or $100. She's there on her holiday, giving it up to serve us.
Yep.
I hope that little bit of something can help them have a better Christmas.
There you go.
But I really, there's so many people out there that if you live in a spot and there's a lot of, people that have moved in, maybe they don't have family. Yeah, they might have 2 people, but maybe invite them both. I can't tell you. And the reason I bring it up is I can't tell you how many times I've made Thanksgiving dinner and had leftovers for a week.
Yep.
If you have leftovers for a week, you have room at your table for 1 or 2 more people.
Yep, absolutely.
Just saying. Anywho, off the hours. I do want to, before we switch into the topic, I do want to bring this up, and it's very important. Jerry and I are both Christian folk. Okay, we've never made we've never tried to cover that up or not make that apparent. However, tonight's episode, we are coming at this from at least partially a biblical point of view.
Which almost have to,
You have to.
given the subject.
Given the subject matter, you have to come at it from a biblical point of view, and that's our lane tonight. If that's not your lane, that's not something you want to deal with, that's not something you're comfortable
This
with,
is your forewarning.
this is your forewarning. You have a great night. We will see you at the next show. However, we would very much encourage you to stay. Might learn something, might have something. If you have questions, send us a question. Newsworthy with SteveandJerry.com. Contact us, send your question. We'll do our absolute best to answer it. So that's the forewarning. We are coming at this from a very Christian background and a Christian basis. A lot of biblical stuff tonight. Also, and we're not going to soft pedal that. That's we're going to be biblically speaking. If anything that we say doesn't agree with what you've been taught, text us, contact us. We want to learn. We want to help. Okay. We're not dropping we're dropping the hallmark stuff. We're dealing with scripture, what the scripture actually shows. You know, angels aren't your dead relatives with wings. They are a very distinct order of created beings who serve God's purposes, deliver messages, protect, and sometimes, when necessary, bring judgment. Jerry's covering demons who every single day of your life, you are fighting a spiritual war with a demon. Or at least the demon is fighting a spiritual war over you. We're going to hit what they are not, as far as angels go. That's what I'm covering, how they actually appear. And I want to preface all of that by saying that this was a listener requested show from one of our greatest listeners. We appreciate him so much. If you have an idea for a show next year, because we're all booked up this year, but if you have an idea for a show next year, again, hit the website, newsworthy with SteveandJerry.com, hit the contact button, put your email in, put your topic in. We will get to it, especially if it fits our vibe. So with all that said, Jerry,
Yes.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
If you want me to, I will. Otherwise, you go for it.
Well, I have a lot of stuff. Now, the one thing I want to say is this is one of the things next year we're going to try to get away from is being very book reporty.
Yep.
In a lot of respects, this program is going to be very book reporty because there's a lot of things we have to just read. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of reasoning or way to get away from all of that. I don't think. So, also, we're not here to pee in your Wheaties. From my perspective, everything that I've looked up is backed up biblically. I even double checked everything to make sure. And if you've been taught something different in your church, I'm sorry. This is what I've been taught in mine, and this is what the Bible backs up.
And like you said, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let us know what you believe that we're wrong on. Let us know what you've been taught. So
Absolutely. There is no bad comments. There's a bad way of saying a comment, but there's no bad comments.
Sure.
We don't take offense to anything. So the first thing I want to clear up, and this is something you see and you hear all the time.
Okay.
Aunt Sally passes away, and there's some people in the corner. Well, Aunt Sally got her wings. That doesn't happen, folks. Unfortunately, that just is not a thing that exists. Angels, in the biblical sense, are a whole different group of created beings. And their only mission is to serve God. Their only desire is to serve God. They do not care about hounding down Aunt Sally's recipe for buttermilk pie. That is not their job. They each have a very specific job that they do, They each have a certain look about how they are. They each, I liken it to, if you look at our government platform, you have the president, you have his cabinet, then you have everybody below that. Jesus, all the angels, and everybody below that.
Yep.
And unfortunately, when we pass on, we don't turn into angels. We receive a new heavenly body, and we get up there and we do our heavenly thing. But
We hope.
We hope.
We hope.
If we've done the things that
Yes.
we're supposed to do.
And that, by the way, is another, you're talking about things earlier that misconceptions that people often have at funerals. You often hear gain the heavenly wings. You often hear another one that when I hear, I think, well, I hope, I wish. It's, well, they're in a better place.
You hope.
According to the Bible, we hope.
What was their relationship to Christ? Had they submitted him? Had they repented? Had they followed him? Have a relationship with him? Those are the things that are required.
Have they accepted him as their Lord and Savior? If not, yeah.
If
Anyway,
not,
sorry to interrupt.
sorry. So it's a bad day for that person. Even when the Satanist, and I forget his name, he ran ran the Satanic Church for a number of decades. When he passed away, his last words were, "Oh Lord, what have I done?" That should tell you something. Just saying. Those words from a satanic preacher scared the hell out of me. Just saying. Of anybody who would be happy to be welcomed in to where he was going.
Sure.
Anywho, Jesus also says that in resurrection, people won't marry, but they will be like angels in heaven, which show that they will all have different roles and natures. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 14, in Psalms 103, verse 20, and in Matthew 22, verse 30. These are all things that the book says that happens, or I'm sorry, it's all the things that say that angels are separate and set apart from what we become. Number 2, angels are not to be worshipped. At one point, John falls at an angel's feet, and the angel corrects him immediately. Do not do that, for I am a fellow servant. We are here, and you are here to worship God. And that was in Revelation 22, verses 8 and 9. So, and I bring that up because some of the things that you're going to talk about will do that, present that way, but accept that worship, right?
Sure.
So it's one of the things that demons do is try very hard to be what angels are to us. And again, this is not a religious show, but you can't do this topic without bringing into religion in all of its sections and all of its parts. And that sucks, but hey, it's what we're doing tonight.
Well, without the religious origin, I don't know that there would be angels and demons.
Right.
It is absolutely spiritual and biblical, and not just Christian Bible, but it is throughout religions. It's part of their history.
So the next thing that angels are not are harmless, cute figurines. And we talked a lot about this over dinner before we got on the show tonight. When angels appear, people are often overwhelmed, terrified, scared, overconsumed, and overstimulated. The glory of the Lord shines around shepherds, and they're terrified. The first words that an angel will say is, "Do not be afraid." Daniel sees Daniel is a man in biblical times. Daniel does a whole lot, okay? And the first time he ever laid eyes on an actual angel, he saw a heavenly being. He lost all of his strength, had nothing to do but fall on his face and tremble. He needed to be strengthened. Luke chapter 2, verses 9, Daniel chapter 10 and verses 7 through 9, and later in that chapter as well, Gabriel actually had to strengthen Daniel to have him raise up so that he could convey the message that he had from the Lord. That's how terrifying and overwhelming a presence of an actual alien is. I want to go on record right now as to say, I hope I never have to look face to face with an angel. We'll get to why in a little while. Angels are not sovereign or independent. At God's command, they act exclusively at God's command. They will go where he sends them, they will do his will, and they will leave. Scripture speaks of angels who do his word, obeying the voice of his word. Psalms 103, verses 20. All their entire existence is to serve whatever God tells them to do at that exact moment that he tells them to do it. They are not obligated, and this is where Satan and the other angels had issue. When God tells Gabriel, go do that, Gabriel has done it. That's what he will stop at nothing to make that accomplished. So, angels are not ignorant of God's plan, but they also know that they are not the authors of God's plan. They long to look into the things that God is revealing in the gospel. We find that in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 12. Basically, I think that they are curious as to the way God's brain works, if that makes sense. They want to see the plan through to fruition, whatever that looks like. Would you agree?
Yes. They're trying to help God.
Yeah.
He gives them the plan, the overall vision, and they try to absolutely see that through to fruition. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Angels are not the rulers of the world to come. God did not subject the world to come to angels. Hebrews chapter 2, verses 5 through 7. There are some sects of some religions that believe that when the new coming comes, that angels are going to be here to rule the world. That's not the case. The only thing, and I'll reiterate, that angels are going to do is complete whatever God tells them to do. Period. They're not here to rule over anything or anyone. And finally, the last thing that angels are not, that God is, angels are not omnipresent. They're not omniscient, and they're not omnipotent. They show up.
Omnipotent.
Omnipotent. Thank you. They show up, they deliver their message, they fight their battle, and then they go away. They are powerful creatures, but they are not all powerful. You see in scenes later we'll talk about in Peter's jailbreak, where an angel strikes the chains and leads him out. But they don't write the script, they just follow it like the rest of us. What do you think? Did I leave anything out of what angels are not?
No,
Good.
I don't think so.
Good. I'm glad. What are angels then, Jerry? Do you want me to get into that?
We already did a little bit. They're God's helpmates that they attempt to, they're God's workers. They try to help him see his plans through to fruition.
Yeah. Angels are messengers sent by God. The Bible repeatedly shows them delivering God's word, speaking directly to people to announce what God is doing and wants done. The angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, and he has said." He is risen, and as he said. That was the angel at the tomb in Matthew 28, announcing what God had done, bringing God's news to the women at that particular point. And to that point, we talked about the other day about the resurrection. A woman is the word in this particular time frame, in this time period, is your least best witness. Most people viewed women as property, not people, unfortunately. Angels are worshipful servants who glorify God. They surround God's throne, calling out his holiness without ever stealing the spotlight. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, and whole earth is full of his glory. That's the seraphim around God's throne in Isaiah 6. And they keep the focus on God alone. Angels glorify God, not glorify themselves. Angels are warriors who fight for God's purposes. They engage in spiritual warfare. They protect God's people. And I have a few stories about that protection in a few minutes. They protect God's people, and they execute God's judgments when commanded. For he will give you an angel to charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. That is the promise in Psalm 91. It shows angels that are assigned to guard and protect. They're God's soldiers on assignment. They are not mercenaries. Angels are ministering spirits who serve believers. Scripture calls them ministering spirits sent out to serve for the sake of those who inherit salvation. Are they not all ministering spirits sent out to serve for the sake of those who inherit salvation? Hebrews 1 and 1:14 in particular. Angels serve God's practicality and spirituality. Also, angels are eyewitnesses and students of God's plan. They long to peer in the unfolding of the gospel and learn what God is doing in and among humans. Things that the angels long to look at. 1 Peter 1 through 12, saying angels are curious and concerned about the mystery of salvation because they're aware, interested, and attentive in God's story. Angels are sometimes visible and awe-inspiring in ways that simply terrify people. When they appear, their presence often comes with brightness, which is meant to dull humans' visual of them because of all that happens. It's just overwhelming. These creatures are the most until you pass and you're judged and you get to be at the throne of God. These are the most overwhelming things in the universe you will ever come in contact with. Thoughts?
I think a lot of it is the power. I don't think it's their face that's terrifying. I don't think they're terrifying. I think it is the power they represent. And I think when they see it, when we see that, there's no doubt, there's no I wonder, there's no maybe. We instantly know the power that is contained. And I think it is the power that is terrifying, not the angel themselves. Does that make sense?
It does. It absolutely does. So we only have a few actual visual representations of what was put into the Bible, what they look like. Now, the Bible is very confusing at some point. I'm still learning how to read and interpret some of these things for myself. And these interpretations are open to a lot of things. Okay. But there's only like 3 or 4 of the angels that are actually described within the Bible itself. In Isaiah 6, 1 through 7, we learn of the Sephirim. Above the throne, each has 6 wings, 2 to cover the face, 2 to cover the feet, and 2 for flying. Their entire job is to proclaim, "Holy, holy, holy," and the threshold shake. One takes a live coal at one point and touches Isaiah's lips, signaling purification. Not to be confused with the Sephirim, the cherubim in Ezekiel 1, 4 through 14 and Ezekiel 10 are probably the scariest looking of the bunch. 4 different living creatures, 4 faces, human, lion, ox, and eagle, 4 wings, hands like human hands under the wings, legs straight, feet like a calf's hoof, gleaming like burnished bronze, full of eyes, lightning-like movement, like flashes of fire. Associated wheels behind them, wheels within a wheel, that are full of eyes, moving in perfect sync with the creatures. If I ever saw something like that, I'd be scared to death. Now, one of the things you have to understand is when the Bible was written, this is one of the things, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, that they were using words that they had to represent something that they couldn't understand.
Sure, in many cases, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And for us today, that would be like writing for us old timers to write about Blockbuster Video to a bunch of millennials. They don't understand what please be kind, rewind means. But at the time when we were coming through, it made perfect sense to us.
Yep.
In Ezekiel 10, he explicitly identifies these as cherubim supporting the throne chariot. Also, for Gabriel and Michael, they were represented as simply a man in linen, angelic messenger, according to Daniel 10, 5-11, clothed in linen, a belt of fine gold, a body like beryl, and a face like lightning. His eyes were flaming torches, arms and legs like burnished bronze, voice like the sound of a multitude. Witnesses trembled and fled. Daniel collapsed with no strength. Again, this was just at the site, and like you said, it was most likely the overwhelming power, the presence. The better word probably is presence, the overwhelming presence. Especially if someone speaks to you with 1,000 voices. Man, can you imagine what that sounds like?
No.
Can't either. So, who were some of the angels that we heard about and learned about in the Bible? And this is important. Michael, his main role was as a warrior or a protector, one of the chief princes, guardian of Israel. He led many, many angelic battles. His human contact that he came in, or the human that he came in contact with was Daniel. He contended with a hostile power to get a message through to Daniel, then strengthened him. He later leads war in heaven, Daniel 10 through 13, 21, 12:1, Jude 9, and Revelation 12:7-9. Michael's all over the Bible because he's kind of like the right-hand man. Probably the left-hand man. Jesus is the right-hand man. Gabriel, he was a herald who delivered pretty much all of the high-stakes announcements. His contacts on earth was Zechariah and Mary. He announced John's birth to Zechariah, struck him mute for unbelief, then announced Jesus' conception to Mary, and named the child of Jesus. Luke 1, 11-20, and 26-38. He also explained visions to Daniel 8, 6-19, and 9, 21-23. Then we have the angel of the Lord. Now, this mysterious messenger who often spoke as God commissions people and received divine honor without rebuke. Most people believe the angel of the Lord was actually the Lord. He appeared to both Moses and Gideon. He appeared in the burning bush. He called Moses. He said, "I am the God your father." He then sent them to Pharaoh. Later, he sat under an oak and called Gideon a mighty man of valor, accepted an offering that flared up, and commissioned him. That was according to Exodus 2-6 and Judges 6:11-24. We also talk about the seraphim, the burning ones. They attend God's throne and they proclaim his holiness. They contacted Isaiah. One flew to Isaiah with a live coal and actually touched his lips and declared his guilt had been taken away. Then the scene leads to Isaiah's commission, Isaiah 6:1-7. And perhaps the one that opened my eyes the most as I was researching this, Jerry, was the cherubim. Now, the cherubim are what we, on Valentine's Day, those are the little dudes with the wings and they're trying to make people fall in love. That's typically what we do in America as a cherubim. But that's not what their goal is. Cherubims are actually guardians. They're throne bearers. They're associated with God's presence and holiness. You know who the only people they ever came in contact on earth?
Who?
Adam, Eve, and Ezekiel. And Ezekiel only in visions. When Eve and Adam were pushed out of the Garden of Eden,
Right.
because, sorry, ladies, but Eve ate from the apple or pomegranate or whatever it was. Take your fruit. I don't care what you call it. Their job was to guard Eden with a flaming sword. They crafted over a mercy seat as a symbolic throne, and in Ezekiel's vision, they carried the throne like a divine chariot. But anywhere that there was a holy spot, the cherubim were there with flaming swords to protect it, to delineate that this is man, this is holy, and you can't come in unless we've invited you. Those are the ones that really blew me away, and I didn't realize how important they really were. Anywho, I have a couple of stories, Jerry, about how aliens intervened in biblical times. Then I have a few
Aliens?
stories. Angels. Sorry.
Okay.
Good gravy.
Wonder why we're bringing aliens into this.
Brains, you let me talk too much. That's what's going on. You're over there eating your candy and let me do all the talking. Slacker. So let's talk about Peter for just a second. In Acts 12, 6-11. So Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, and he was bound with two chains. The prison was guarded by 4 squads of soldiers. So Peter is in prison for proclaiming God's word at this point. He's been there a long time, and he has prayed, and other villages have, other peoples and followers have prayed for his release. The angel appears. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord stood by him, and the light shone in the cell. The angel struck Peter on the side to wake him. Acts 12 through 7, or Acts 12 and 7. The chains fell off immediately, and they fell from Peter's hands. Acts 12, 7. They got up. They walked past the guards. The angel tells him to get up. Peter follows, thinking he's seeing a vision. They pass through the first and second guard post, and the iron gate leading into the city opens by itself. Act 12, 8 and 10. The angel vanishes. They go out, they walk in the street, and then the angel departs to them, Acts 12, 10. And Peter comes to find himself in the middle of the street and realizes this wasn't a vision, and he knows the Lord had sent his angel to rescue him. That's documented. That's seen by witnesses. That's crazy, right? Let's talk about Philip for a second. Acts 8 through 26 and 29. Acts is just full of angelic energy. The angel of the Lord tells Philip, rise and go toward the south to the road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. It's a desert road. Philip goes and spots an Ethiopian official in his chariot. Then the Spirit tells him to go up to the chariot. That sets up the entire encounter where Philip explains Isaiah 53 to the man, and the man gets baptized. Now, when I was researching this, I wanted to know why that was important, because that's a very small thing, right? If you think about it, that's one soul. Why would one soul be worth putting in the entire Bible because of this? You know, he directed Philip to one soul. I get it. I'm not saying any soul is bad, but that's a whole almost chapter in the entire Bible. So I did a little more reason. The reason was that the man was an Ethiopian official from a whole different continent that had no idea who Jesus was. His conversion became a gateway. He was a high-ranking treasury official under Candace. He was educated, and he was already reading Isaiah. And he was traveling back to Africa with a fresh face and scripture now in hand. You get the gospel leaping now a cultural boundary, moving from Jerusalem into Judea, Samaria, and outward toward the ends of the earth, just like Jesus said. The one person that is like a multiplier and not a number. If me or you were in that same situation, Jerry, they saved one person. But because it was an Ethiopian treasurer who had connections throughout the whole of Africa, they saved a whole continent, or at least started a movement out of one person. And that's why this story was so big. And when I first heard that, I was like, man, I got to dig into that. That's kind of a blue, a moot point. Oh, it got one person. Why would you write about that, right?
For what that can lead to. Kind of like a missionary, right?
Exactly.
Think about a missionary. If he were to be killed, how many lives could that alter? How many people would he have reached possibly?
My pastor always says, first of all, everything we do in this world is not about this world. It's about 20 years from now. And he had a chance encounter outside of a bar when he was 20 years old. And how many people wouldn't be saved today had he not had that one encounter? Pastor Steve's been a pastor his entire life, probably 40, 50 years.
Exactly.
And you, Pastor Steve is one of those people that he doesn't just speak at you. He speaks with you. So I have no doubt that it's in the thousands, or probably at this point, hundreds of thousands of people. He's at least affected in some way positive.
Sure.
I got 3 stories really quick, and you can, and then we'll get into, man, I've been talking almost an hour, Jerry. Sorry.
No problem. It's a good topic.
It is. And this is one of those that I don't care if we go long on it, to be blunt. Because for all the things that the angels are and are not, your side is just an equal pendulum to that. And we need to talk about
Equal but opposite.
Absolutely. Yin and yang, if you will, if you're Chinese or Shaolin or whatever. So real quick, or should we do these? No, we'll do them now. So highway helper who vanishes. It was close to midnight on Highway 41. Cold and misty with no shoulder. I blew my right rear tire. I got the hazards on and I'm trying to jack, but it kept slipping in the gravel. Headlights appeared behind me. Then a single work light clicked on, and a man in faded canvas jacket walked up like he'd been doing this his whole life. He said, "Pop the trunk. I got you." Calm voice, no small talk. He wedged a flat stone under the jack, broke the lugs without a strain, swapped the tire in 2 minutes. I've done a lot of tire changes. There ain't no way in heck I can do it in 2 minutes. Just throwing it out there. When I took out my wallet, he shook his head and said, "Nope, I just need you to know that you are not alone. Get home safe." I bent down to grab the blown tire, looked up to thank him again, and he was gone. His work light was gone. His truck was gone. No engine sound. Nothing on this straight highway you could see for hundreds of miles. I drove the next mile just looking for tailgates and didn't find any. The spare held perfect, and when I got it to the tire store the next day, the jack was put on exactly the reinforced points, which nobody ever uses on cars. You just don't see those unless you crawl under there and look. And the lugs, much to the surprise of the tire workers, was torqued perfectly. I felt like God had sent help right when I needed it. Crazy, right?
Yep.
The Midnight Mysterious Nurse. Now, this one actually made goosebumps pop up on my arms. My daughter was admitted with a scary high fever, and it was past 2 a.m. I was running on coffee and panic, and her temperature kept creeping up. Everything they tried to do wasn't effective. The hallway was quiet. The call light wasn't getting anyone. A nurse in an actually weirdly older style uniform stepped in a soft voice and said, "Let's cool her down." She adjusted the IV rate, brought a cool compress, and hummed while she worked. My kid finally stopped shivering. She prayed under her breath, checked vitals like clockwork, and then told me, "Hey, why don't you rest a minute? I'll sit here." I must have dozed off for 20 minutes or so. And when I woke up, the sunlight was coming through the blinds. My daughter was smiling. I thanked the morning nurse for sending help and to tell her all about how grateful I was for the lady who came in the middle of the night and described her. They said that no one has ever worked here in that met that description. Crazy, right? Just another thing that, and this one is the one that I was saving for last because it's the one that's like, to me. This one's actually close to home. We got off a trail near dusk at the Red River Gorge. Not only that, fog rolled in and the phones dropped to 1 bar. The water was almost gone. The map said the trail should have switched back left, but all we saw was brush and drop-offs. A man in a faded ranger jacket stepped out from the timberland like he'd been waiting for us. He had a brimmed hat, clean boots, and a small pack. He said, "You know what? Follow me. I don't want you to cliff out," which if you've ever been to Red River Gorge, it's very easy to get off a trail and fall down a cliff and be very much unalived. Those are 60, 50, 60, 80 feet at some points, 600 yards at others. His tone was calm and no chit chat. He led us along a narrow deer path none of us had even noticed, pointed out a rock shelf to avoid, and had us exactly step on white quartz stones because the ground was stable there. He paused once and said, "You'll hear water in about 5 minutes if you keep going this direction." And we did. We crested a ridge and we saw an official trail marker ahead. I turned to thank him and he wasn't there. No footsteps, no light, just a breeze in the pines. At the trailhead, the posted notice said no rangers were scheduled to be in that sector that night due to staffing issues. The quartz stones were real, and we checked the next day. It felt like he had guided us straight out of trouble. Crazy, right?
Very much so.
Do you have any questions about angels?
I do. I do. You mentioned 2 or 3 times about angels' job and how that they always attempt to help God fulfill his plan, see his plan through to fruition. Is it always the case? Do angels always try to help God? Are they always obedient?
Always is a long, it depends on how far you go back, because the leader of the folks you're going to talk about didn't do that.
What do you think differentiated Lucifer from the other angels? Well, not only Lucifer, right? Because I think the Bible says that he took 1/3 of the angels with him as part of his rebellion.
Is it 200?
Does it give a number? It may. I don't recall.
I don't remember.
I thought I think it said 1/3 somewhere. I'll look that up. But do we suddenly go from 1/3 of the angels were bad and followed a really bad dude, Lucifer, to the rest are perfect? I don't think the Bible answers this. I don't think there's an answer. I'm just wondering your thoughts.
I think that they stayed because they are. Not necessarily perfect. There's only one perfect being in the world, right?
I don't know.
But
I don't think the Bible says whether or not they're perfect or not that I know of.
it just says they were created. I mean, that's all it says. I think that they are as close to perfect as you can get and not be the Lord.
For the ones that are left, obviously
Right.
not the ones that
Right.
rebel with Lucifer. I've often had questions and wondered about Lucifer. How do you go from being an angel of God? How do you go from seeing the awesomeness of God to being
I
thinking
can be better than
I
that.
can, which is exactly what he thought.
Right.
He thought that I can ascend him. I can be higher and better than him, and led a rebellion in heaven with a third of the angels. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around how you get from standing in the presence of God. Of course, is it any different than Judas Iscariot, one of the apostles? How can you be around Jesus Christ and see the awesomeness, see the miracles that he performed, and then turn around and betray him?
I don't know.
I don't. I don't understand.
Humans are weird in those things. Humans are so weird.
They are.
We're
I mean,
so
I
self-protective.
can understand even bad. I can understand bad people for a lot of reasons. They're just their mind is warped, their mind is twisted. I think in many cases, sadly, their upbringing had at least a part to do with it. It's not an excuse, but has a part to do with it. But for someone like Judas, who was an apostle of Jesus, who was with him day in and day
Saw
out,
the miracles. Didn't have
Saw
to
it
have
all.
faith. Believed because he saw.
one would think had to have believed, if no faith, due to simply what he saw, would have had to believe, and yet chose for 40 shekels of silver to betray him. How? How do you?
And Jesus
I
even
don't
knew.
get that. Sure, he knew ahead of time.
And he was like, "You're going to betray me, not once, not twice, but 3 times."
No, not to Judas. Who did he say that to? One of the greatest men in the Bible. He wrote more of the New Testament than anyone. The Apostle Paul.
Yeah.
Apostle Paul's the one who denied him 3 times before when? Before the cock shall crow, before the rooster will crow in the
Isn't
morning.
that crazy?
You will deny me thrice, 3 times.
How in the world do you see someone or a being, or in this case, someone? How can you be on the boat and you awaken Jesus and
See him walk on the water.
he walks on the water?
Well, in Paul's
Or he
defense,
just-
he was scared for his life. He was afraid that, and very rightfully so. These men come up to him at one point and said, "Wait a minute, we recognize you. Aren't you one of the followers?" They just killed Christ.
Yeah.
They just crucified him. Very good chance if you're one of the followers, they'll kill you too. So he did it out of self-preservation, thinking I may die if I acknowledge that I'm a follower of Christ. Judas Iscariot did it for 40 shekels of silver.
I want to just say, and you had a pretty joke earlier. I hope that if it ever comes to it, I have enough strength to be like the guys that were beheaded by ISIS. You remember the 12 guys they had in the orange jumpsuits, and this is your chance. Submit to Allah or be. Every one of them, one after one, lost their life in the love of their God. I hope that when that happens, I'm that guy,
We all
as
hope
opposed
we
to
have.
Paul or Judas or some snakey snake.
And let's not sugarcoat the fact that the Apostle Paul was one of the greatest Christians in the entire Bible.
Right?
He was trusted to write more of the New Testament than anyone else by far. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was Apostle Paul.
It's crazy.
It was. We have time for me to do this part? You want me to
Dude,
do it?
We're
Okay.
not on the time. This is our show.
Good enough.
We can go.
I'm not saying
go
we will definitely do it, whether it's tonight or later, but yeah.
Let's do it.
The other side of angels
I
is
still got one.
demons. There you go.
Let's
You mentioned from yin and yang, to good and evil, light and dark, to angels and demons. Nearly every religion, nearly every philosophy in the world recognizes these opposing forces as inseparable reflections of one another. Although angels and demons, as you mentioned several times, are traditionally very spiritual things, there are also many people who are not religious that still acknowledge their existence in some form or another. Now, the word demon originates from the Greek word daemon, which initially referred to a divine or spiritual being that could be either good or bad, not necessarily evil, as you would think with the word demon, but originally it was simply a divine or spiritual being that could be either good or bad. It came to mean an evil spirit in the monotheistic Abrahamic religions. The definition of demons will also vary greatly depending on the religion and the culture of whomever you're asking. By the way, I'm going to deviate from your approach a little bit from the sense you covered angels and did a great job of it from a biblical perspective. I'm going to go in it much more shallow from the Christian perspective, and then we'll take a look at the Islamic perspective, the Judaism, and also the non-religious. We'll start with Christianity. In Christianity, the word demon refers to, as we just got through talking about, a fallen angel, a spiritual being that rebelled against God. They were part of Lucifer's army that he led in a revolt against God. In the aftermath of their defeat, they were cast into hell. Lucifer, or Satan, is considered the leader of the demons. Demons serve as his agent in opposing God's kingdom. You talked about angels being God's right hand helpers. Demons are the exact same for Satan. They're his right hand helpers. Demons attempt to influence, to deceive, to tempt, or to afflict humans. Although their power is limited by God and they cannot act independently or outside of those limits. They often function as metaphors for sin, as well as literal beings, depending on the theological interpretation. They are also believed to have the power to possess human bodies. There are several instances in the Bible where it tells of that happening. By the way, we're going to be covering exorcisms shortly. In Matthew 8, we're told of the man who is possessed by not a demon, but a legion of demons. Jesus commands the demons to leave. They enter the herd of pigs. The pigs run off the cliff, drown in the sea.
Which is why we're technically not supposed to eat swine, right? Isn't that where that comes from?
What, this
Well,
one
the-
parable?
Where the
No.
demons went into the swine?
Well, that's part of it, but also that's just part of the reason behind it. The pigs.
Sorry, I
in-
didn't mean to get off.
No, you're fine. They're just considered to be unclean animals.
Right.
And it's not just pigs, it's any animal with a cloven foot. So
Gotcha.
it's not just the swine, it's not just the pigs. And if it was this one story that led to that, it would just be the swine, but it's not just the swine. It's any animal with a cloven foot that Jews are not allowed to eat, or they weren't allowed to eat in the Old Testament. In the 16th chapter of Mark, he tells us of Mary Magdalene, who Jesus said that he cast 7 demons out of. The Catholic Church has performed many exorcisms. They aren't tracked, so an exact number isn't known. But there is one Catholic father, Italian Father Gabriel Amorth, that claimed to have performed over 60,000 exorcisms himself. One guy.
Gosh.
That's a lot of demons he come in contact with. I'm just wondering, what kind of village did he live in? In Islam, the closest equivalent to the word demon is shaitan. Another word that is also related is jinn, depending on the context. Jinns are beings created from smokeless fire. They have free will, like humans. They can be good, neutral, or evil. Shaitan refers specifically to evil jinn that are rebellious, malicious, or who tempt humans towards wrongdoing. Shaitans whisper evil suggestions into the hearts of humans. They promote sin, deception, and disbelief, but they cannot force humans to do anything. They can only persuade. Yes.
Just for the record, I was looking it up. The Christian Faith Guide says that the Bible does not give a specific number of angels that fell from heaven. However, it suggests that many angels joined Satan in rebellion of God, and it could be as much as a third, whatever that means.
There's something somewhere I don't recall. Yeah. But the third comes from somewhere.
Sorry.
A bunch.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Yes. A whole lot.
Unless there was 10, then it was 3.
Yeah. But there's
3.5, actually, which is creepy, but yeah.
3 1/3.
3 1/3,
Get
even
your math
creepier.
right.
Dang it. The third.
How do you get
So
3
some
1/2 out
legs.
of 3rd of 10?
So 3 angels and a pair of legs.
There's So that's
Sorry.
Christianity and Islam. In Judaism, demons, or Sheddim, are described as invisible beings with characteristics of both humans and angels. They are often malicious spirits, but not fallen angels. They can cause illness, mischief, or harm, but they are not necessarily evil. They have free will, they eat, they reproduce, and they die. But they also possess supernatural abilities. Later Jewish folklore introduces Lilith, who is associated with night spirits. Lilith is portrayed in some traditions as a dangerous female spirit that harms infants or seduces men. Rabbis sometimes use demons to explain accidents, illness, or unexplained events, similar to how ancient cultures personified dangers. By the way, do you know what the most popular, what religion in the world has the most followers
In the world,
in the world, worldwide?
is that Islam?
So that's second.
Christianity?
Yep.
Okay.
Christianity is still number one. Roughly 2.4 billion people follow Christianity. About 2 billion follow Islam. So over half the world's population is either Christian or Islam. Roughly 4.4 billion out of 8.2 billion.
And the problem there is, I don't want to say problem.
No, I think it is a
That
problem.
the ones that claim Christianity are not near as adamant, active, or in tune as the ones that are
I
Islamic.
think that's a big problem. Considering we're Christians, I don't hesitate to say that's a problem at all.
Yeah, really is.
It is.
I'll go one step further since we're talking about it. In our country, especially, we have gotten to be with the help of pastors such as I'm trying to be nice here.
I know. I could. Still.
So I actually enjoy a good sermon by Joel Osteen occasionally when I need to pick me up.
Yep.
But the
I think
real
a lot of
facts
people
are he's only teaching you half the Bible,
He whitewashes a lot of it.
a lot of it. And then you get the flip side of that, and you get the Kenneth Copelands of the bunch who just drive people away in droves because of how
Negative. it can be.
narcissistic and
Negative.
he is. And then you get, so I can understand why the American Christian is kind of either wishy-washy or on the fence or doesn't know what to take the next step is. We went to church with my son in Louisville the other day. Great message. Very surface level. Didn't
What
get into
service
it.
level?
Very surface level.
Oh, surface level.
And that's okay. You have a pastor, you're doing a church with, 1,500, 2,000 people. I get that. And it was their fundraising time of the year. I get that. My church, for instance, is very, very different. They don't pass an offering plate. They teach once a year on tithing and offerings, and that's it. That box is at the back. You do, if you do, if you don't, you don't. That's who you and God. Their church is very similar to that. So, and it happened to be their time. So, not saying that that's their ever message, but very nice, very cordial, very real message, just very surface level. In America, in particularly, our Christianity has become very surface level.
I agree. I also think another huge problem that we've got in America is religious people putting down other religions. So
Amen.
for the non-religious, they're standing back going, wait a minute, you guys can't even get along with each other. Why in the world would I want to be a part of that?
Yeah. And then you have one other part is when you're driving down the road and you see a big sign in your yard that says repent or go to hell. There is a big difference between Joel Osteen and that. And the answer lies somewhere in the middle. You have to be able to reach
There's a
people.
time and a place for all
Absolutely.
things. Does the
Absolutely.
Bible teach you have to repent or you go to hell? Yes, it does.
Yep.
Does it say that needs to be the focal point of your sermon? No,
No.
it doesn't. So you got to find a message that works. And yeah, obviously a large part of it is being able to find a message that resonates with people.
And I'm just going to say it, in our country in particular, where you have a bazillion different denominations, and half of those denominations, I'm sorry, Jerry, tell you that if you're not Baptist or you're not Methodist or you're not this
You're
or
on the
that,
highway to hell.
you're going to hell. Nowhere does it say that. You can't support that biblically.
Okay.
And you are doing a disservice to people who will potentially. I just got to hop up on a fence here because you're talking about demons. And I think that the Bible very specifically says in the book that if you become
Or
a
a stumbling
stumbling
block.
block to somebody, you're not a demon per se, but maybe you're being influenced by demons because demons whisper, demons nudge, demons try to get you to, I am absolutely going to make you do all of that before the next show.
You've been saying that for a long time.
I'm serious, or I'm just going to throw it away so you have to walk away and get it.
I'm only going
um,
to get one out of my pocket at a time then.
Oh, gosh. I'll get in your pockets. I ain't ashamed. Shoot. But I think that you may not want to be a stumbling block, but there could be a demon in your head whispering in your ear to do something that would create a stumbling block through your actions. to another person or a non-believer. I just, there are, and am I perfect? Freaking not. I am the furthest from, I am someone who just tries to learn as I go. You know, I am deeper in the Bible in this episode than I've been, unfortunately, in the last 6 months. And I wanted to. When we decided to do this, I was like, this is my chance. There's a reason I'm getting into this. And it had me all through the books, which is even better. When I started, didn't even realize Hebrews. I was looking all through the Old Testament trying to find Hebrews. Not a lie. That's a problem. Honestly.
It means you need to read your Bible more. But you know what?
Exactly.
All of us
Who
need to read the
doesn't?
Bible more.
You know, Pastor Steve says it all the time. He reads his every year. Every year. Different Bible. This is mine. It's a New American Standard. It's the one that I can read. Know thee, thou, those. It's written in common modern English, but it's a work study Bible. It's marked up all to hell. There's more highlighter in it than out of it. But I just wanted to throw that out there. That in America today, we have a very surface level version of Christianity, where countries like Africa, India, China. In China, you will go to prison for being a Christian, for studying the Bible. And they do it every day in house churches, 2 or 3 or 5 people together. They will each write down a page or 2 pages or a chapter, and they'll hand it off to each other so that they can read it without getting caught. We don't have any idea what that means to be a Christian outside of our country. And a lot of times that cost is your life. That cost is your freedom. That cost is your money. That cost is your family. We don't get that here. And if we did, and I pray we never do, but if we did, I think a lot of us would be digging into that book a whole lot more, including myself. Not throwing other people under the bus without directing that at me. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. You got me on a soapbox.
You're fine. You talked about the fact that over half the world is Christian or
Didn't need
Islam.
that candy after all.
But obviously, there's many non-religious people in the world as well. Demons are a common concept among them as well, not just demons, angels also. From a non-religious standpoint, yes,
Doesn't that say something?
about
That if I'm not religious, I don't believe in religion, I don't buy into religion, blah, 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 your religion. But you know what? I know there's angels and there's demons.
well, no, I don't think it does. And here's
You don't
why.
think so?
They don't believe that those angels and demons are spiritual. They don't believe that they're supernatural. The majority of them look at it as this force of nature. You've heard many people say, I'm fighting with my inner demons. That's got nothing to do with God or Satan, right? That's where I'm saying that they believe in demons and angels. They believe that there's things, they believe in karma. I don't think karma is related to God. I don't think karma is just saying that there's a force in the world that if you are putting out good things are going to come back. If you're putting out horrible, mean things, you're going to get likewise back. I don't think that's spiritual. I don't think that's professing a hidden belief in God.
I agree.
But
Maybe if you're not a believer, that is your way of justifying good and
Could be.
bad.
could be.
You see what I'm saying?
And that's what I
it's-
think they all believe. They believe in good and bad, not necessarily God or Satan.
I hope that they're wrong.
No, I firmly believe it. I mean, if they're not, then everything about the Bible is
Right.
in waste.
I would hope that I said it before earlier today, and I mean it. When the satanic pastor who started the satanic church in America, his final words as he passed away was, oh God, what have I done? That says something.
It does.
That's huge. Because he's not talking about, oh Satan, what have I done? It's oh God. Anywho, please let you continue. And if I raise my hand again, you just tell me shut
You
up.
were fine. Going along with what you were asking. From a non religious standpoint, demons are not viewed as literal supernatural beings. Instead, they are understood through psychology, sometimes mythology, literature, and even cultural symbolism. Psychologically, demons often refer to what I just mentioned, inner struggles. It often represents addiction, guilt, fear, mental health challenges. People say that they're fighting their demons to describe grappling with destructive thoughts or behaviors. Mythologically, demons are understood as symbolic creations that reflect human fears. They often symbolize greed, anger, death, disease, as well as unknown and uncontrollable forces in nature. From a literary and pop cultural perspective, demons often represent evil, chaos, or temptation, and they also create moral contrast for heroes. Even without belief, the idea of demons is deeply embedded in our culture, our language, and indeed society. Some famous demons. Well, the most famous one would have to be Satan, Lucifer. The origin is the Abrahamic religions. He is the adversary of God, often depicted as the ruler of hell or the fallen angel who rebelled. Lilith, we also mentioned before, comes from Jewish folklore. He's often portrayed as Adam's first wife who refused submission, later demonized as a child stealing and night spirit. Asmodeus, part of the Jewish and Christian demonology, he is the demon of lust, one of the seven princes of hell. Pazuzu, from the Mesopotamian mythology. He was the demon of the southwest wind, associated with plagues and famine. He was prominently featured in The Exorcist, if you remember. He was the possessing entity. Leviathan comes from biblical text, most commonly known as a sea monster symbolizing chaos, later interpreted as a demon of envy. Beelzebub, of the Philistine deity, later demonized in Christianity as well. Lord of the Flies, he was associated with gluttony and corruption. Demons, I think, still resonate today because they embody our deepest fears, our moral struggles, our fascination with the unseen, which makes them powerful symbols across religion, psychology, and pop culture. That's demons.
Dude, demons are nasty.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, they're evil. As we said early on, these, whether it's biblical, whether it's non-religious, whether it's yin and yang, light and dark, good and evil, angels and demons are kind of the same. They're the exact same but opposite force. They're exact opposite of angels.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. What do you think? I mean, I know your thoughts, but we have a very unique opportunity here with this particular program to just put it out there. We're in the lane, we're in the thoughts, we're talking about the things. What do you think? What would you say to the listener today that was on the fence?
Well, we're not going to change the listener that's on the fence. If you
I get it.
don't believe the Bible, you're certainly not going to believe two little guys from Kentucky doing a podcast on cryptids who suddenly decided to talk about angels and demons.
Well,
But-
let me ask you this. Let me put it a different way.
Okay.
Let's exclude the Bible because maybe they've never been exposed to the Bible as it should be. Maybe the only experience they have is a really bad pastor in a little local church, and they got really hurt at that church.
Kinda like
I can
you did
speak that from
initially.
experience.
Yeah. Again, that's why I took the avenue that I did tonight of going at it from not only a Christian perspective, but some other religions and also a non-religious perspective. I think we all agree that there are good and evil forces in this world. Guys, somewhere along the line, that's all angels and demons are. We're looking at the good versus the bad. And I don't think there's any denying that. They're just not.
Have you ever seen the movie Constantine?
I have not.
So
I don't recall.
Constantine's a far-fetched movie based on one guy who slays demons and sends them back to hell, basically. He's a superhero of sorts. God's warrior. He fell out of favor with God because he committed suicide. It's a whole thing. the one thing that movie does, it's got Keanu Reeves, fantastic show, one of my favorite movies. But one of the things the movie does, if you can take the Hollywood out of the movie, is it shows you that every single day, for every single person walking, there is a spiritual battle happening for your eternity. Every single one of us.
I would even go further. Beyond your eternity, we talked earlier about one of the biggest problems with trying to reach people who are not religious is religious people ourselves.
Right.
That's the devil working through us. He doesn't need us for eternity, but maybe he can use us for 5 minutes and get this person's eternity.
Exactly.
He will take anything he can, and we have to be careful, or otherwise we begin helping him in his quest to influence other people. It can be something as simple as a terrible, horrible joke that's told at work. What's our reaction? Do we laugh with the rest of them? There's a scripture in the Bible that says he wants us to come out and be separate from the world. There are people who look at people who say they're Christian. They look and see if their lives are any different than their own.
Right.
And if they're not, they're saying, well, wow, why bother? Why should I go to church? Why should I attempt to do everything in the Bible? They're no
Because
different than me. They're no
what-
better than I am.
And there's no guarantee of, unlike what Joel Osteen says, being a Christian doesn't necessarily make your life easier.
Not at all.
In fact,
Probably
it's
harder.
probably going to be harder because you're going to be persecuted, either by other people or by Satan. For every step you step up, he wants to knock you down.
Absolutely. So I would absolutely agree with you. And I would say that not only is there a battle for your eternal soul, there's a battle for the next 5 minutes,
All right.
constantly and consistently, to see if he can use you to get to someone else.
So here's a guilty admission from the Newsworthy podcast. It's exactly what our tagline or finish show line means. If you can't see the light, be the
Be
light.
alive. Yep,
You are supposed to be the light for someone in the dark.
absolutely.
The way you live, the way you thought. And folks, not throwing glass. I can't speak to Jerry. I can only speak to me. I am one of the worst Christians on the planet. I struggle mightily, daily, and fail 90% of the time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's everyone. I don't care if they tell you different, they're not being honest. The
A-
Apostle
absolutely.
Paul said, I sin daily. One of the greatest Christians in the Bible said, I sin daily. If the Apostle Paul, one of the greatest Christians in all the Bible, sins daily, how would we describe ourselves?
David, one of the biggest heroes in the Bible, stole another man's wife.
And then did what to cover it up?
Kill her.
No,
Or kill him.
Killed him. Committed adultery first, then committed murder trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
How did God describe David?
Yeah.
A man after God's own heart.
Right.
Even with those flaws, God can still do miraculous things. That's not saying that's an excuse to do horrible things.
Yeah.
At all.
I just want to finish this up. And do you have anything
I'm
to add?
done.
I just want to finish this up with, this isn't something we do on this show typically. Okay. And I get that. And I'm glad if you're still here, we appreciate you
Thank
still
you.
being here. Thank you. If you're still here because you have questions, please reach out to us.
Let us know.
We're not perfect.
Or anywhere close
But maybe we can get you somebody who can answer the questions that you want answered. Maybe you have questions. Maybe you have a thought. Maybe you have, well, why did this become this? Or where do I get a free Bible if I wanted to read? Because you don't have to pay for that. Somebody, including me, will go get that for you if you're going to read it.
Yep.
It's that important. Christianity and being Christian doesn't mean you're perfect. Being religious doesn't mean you're perfect, but it does mean you're trying, or it should, right?
Absolutely.
The worst thing you can do is be a stumbling block, in my opinion. The worst thing you can do is see and understand what this book in any variation offers you. And not only say no, but then convince somebody else to say no too.
And it
That's
doesn't take
worse.
words out of your mouth to convince them. It can be
It's
actions.
it's absolutely, in fact, to me, I believe it's more actions.
I agree.
I lost, and I don't know if I've ever told this on the story on the actual air or not. I lost almost 25 years of my life away from God because of one action. I'm not going to mention names, but I went to a little small church down in my hometown. My daughter was born. I was very proud of her. She's beautiful. I'm only 15. Folks, if you're 15 having kids, you're not following the Bible, right? But I was only 15. But I took my daughter to church because I was trying to do right. And at going into the church, this particular couple, oh, she's so pretty, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. We get settled in the pews, and this church was old school. Everything creaked, but it was all pews, right?
Hmm.
They set 2 pews in front of me. Didn't realize I was behind them. And I heard them say, I can't believe that he brought that little child into this church with no mother, not married, only 15. Blah, blah, blah. Hell, it's been 50 years. I don't remember exactly what they said. But it scarred me so much because these were people that I held to. One of them was a deacon in the church. 25 years I lost. And I have forgiven those people, but I will never forget those people.
Yep,
You understand? And
completely.
I'm just going to go ahead. Do you care if I give my testimony?
Not at all. Please do.
So 25, fast forward 25 years, 25 years, something like that. I don't remember. Probably 20 years. Not even that long, probably 17 years, 18 years. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. I was in a duplex. I lived in a duplex in Nicholasville with my first wife, or second wife, unfortunately. That tells you something. First wife was wonderful. I messed that up. I was with my second wife. Her daughter, who I love to death, she's an amazing young lady. She's doing the things she's supposed to do now, but at the time was very bipolar and unmedicated, and would literally, if you did something she didn't like, would scream at the top of her lungs for hours. Hours. I don't know if you've ever heard a 13-year-old scream at the top of their lung for hours. You've worked 12, 13 hours and you come home to that. It's not a fun time. It's not a pleasant experience. Sitting there, we're in this duplex, and right down in front of our house was a stop sign, just where the roads teed. It was a 3-way stop. 9:30 at night, I get a knock at the door, and
I
I'm
love
like,
this story.
I'm like, who the F is knocking at my door at 9:30? I got this kid. It's probably the cops. She's in there screaming. She probably I'm in a duplex. So I'm figuring the neighbors done called the cops thinking I'm beating the shit out of this child, right? And I would never. I mean, that's just not who I am. But so I answer the door, and there's this man standing there, and he's like, and he's kind of looking, and he's looking for the words because, and I remember that, and he says, this is going to sound really weird. I have no idea why I'm knocking on your door, but I'm at the stoplight down there. You can see his car right there. His wife's in the car. He's like, but I got ready to pull away from the stoplight, and I had God tell me, nope, I want you there right now. And I was like, oh, it's 9:30 at night. I don't want to do that. These people are probably asleep. I want to go. So I wanted to go. And as soon as I went to put the car, to go, I heard it again, louder. So I stopped the car. And I'm knocking on your door. I know it's 9:30 at night. I'm sorry, but I'm supposed to knock on your door right now. I can't tell you for the life of me how done and over at life I was at this point. I had so emotional with work. And unfortunately, I had learned my ex-wife at the time had already at this point developed a very slight, but it was gaining speed in a drug habit. And her daughter was going crazy, and I'm
Yeah.
just crazy. And I'm like, he's like, do you have 5 minutes? I'm like, I mean, whatever you want. And dumb smart ass me, he says, well, my name's Pastor Steve. I'm from a church here local in Nicholasville. Can I come back and talk to you at a different point? But I was like, no, you come in now. I just got one question. Smart ass Steve. I know everything. I'd always heard this phrase and I never understood it. He's like, what's that? I said, I'll let you into the house to talk right now if you can tell me and explain to me why I should fear God. Smart, right? He's like, absolutely. So I invite him in. We go sit at the kitchen. As soon as he walks in, first of all, Brittany stops. I don't know why. I don't know if her mom gagged her, beat her, whatever. She was in a different room. She stopped. And we went to the kitchen table. We're sitting there talking, and he tells me, and what was supposed to, he left about 11 o'clock that night. An hour and a half. His wife's still sitting in the car. Apparently she's used to this,
Yep.
right?
I bet she was.
I've been at that church ever since, by the way. Pastor Steve, I will never,
It's still there.
even as you approach retirement, I will never not tell this story. Because he was the one guy who had the patience, the kindness, the demeanor to explain to me that those people that hurt me wasn't a representation of God.
Yeah.
And I feel like at some point when I get to heaven, he's going to be there and I'm going to hug his neck. Now, don't let me get you all sappy. I got one more little quick story I want to tell just because I want to end this show in a good mood.
Let me tell something first,
Sure,
and I'll let you end
absolutely.
it. We've talked a lot about being a stumbling block. Here's what the Bible has to say about that.
Yes, please quote this.
Matthew chapter 18, starting in verse 6. And before, he's talking about young people believing in him. Starting in verse 6, whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depths of the sea. It would be better for the stone to be put around your neck than to become a stumbling block for one of these.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus says about being a stumbling block.
I don't
True
know.
story.
I don't know if you guys ever noticed the tattoos on my arm. Those are all Christian tattoos for me. They're all reminders in some form, some fashion for me. But I also work in a nonprofit. And for many years, I drove a bus getting people to their doctor's appointments and stuff with
Right.
that nonprofit. This is the funny story. So I laugh. I'm sorry. So you get to know your regulars, okay? One of my regulars gets on the bus, and I'm like, "How you doing today?" And this young lady, she goes, "Steve, Lord, I tell you." I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." I said, "Yes, ma'am. What's up?" She said, "Let me tell you something. When I get to heaven, I'm doing 2 things." I was like, "Oh, 2 things? What's that?" She said, "Thing number 1, I'm finding Jesus and I'm hugging his neck." I'm like, "That's a good thing to do. I'll probably join you in that. What's thing number 2? She said, "When I'm going to find Eve and I'm going to whoop that beep's ass." And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Because I'm 50 years old and shouldn't be dealing with this stuff anymore." And if you need to know what that means, I'm sorry, but I will.
Love it.
I literally laughed like bellow. You know how I laugh.
Yep.
I laughed at that when she told me that. All the way from her house in Frankfurt, all the way to Lexington.
My daughter calls it your belly laugh.
Yeah.
She told me this a while back. I think I told you, I'm not sure. She said, if we can ever figure out how to bottle Steve's belly laugh, we will be rich.
That young lady cracked me up. I loved it. And I know her and her mom were both on my bus all the time. Guys, again, we're going to wrap up here just because we're way over for this year. A couple of quick reminders. Next year, we're going to take all December off. First 2 weeks are working holidays for us. Then we're actually taking 2 weeks off.
Yep.
Where we're not going to think about the podcast. We're not going to do anything with the podcast. If you have an idea for a great show that you want us to cover, as long as it falls within our range of what we want to do, we're going to cover it. If it's not, we'll send an email back and say, hey, love your idea. It's not really for us, but we'll try to send it on to someone who it is.
There you
go. We know a lot of podcasters at this point, but we really want to cover what you want. This show was a listener requested show. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you so much for listening every day, every week. And we got a lot of changes coming in January. I can't even begin to name all the changes, which is why we have to have 2 weeks to prepare. We don't have producers. We don't have a stage can. We do all this ourselves, or we hire it out. But we got a lot of cool and exciting stuff.
I
coming
wish we
up.
had someone to blame for some of the errors, but nope, it's
just us. Just us. Jerry, do you have anything you want to add at the end?
I do not.
Me
Enjoyed the
man.
show.
It has been a fantastic show, even if it was a little dry at the beginning because I'm boring.
Not at all.
Man, this has been an interesting episode. If you'll stay tuned, we have a great bonus story after this commercial break.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Buying your first home can be overwhelming, but here are 5 tips to make the process go smoother. Number 1, find a lender, me, Ed Locke, that can answer any questions you might have and help you get pre-approved. There are multiple options available based on your situation. Number 2, work with a real estate agent you can trust. Number 3, don't rush the process. Take your time and know that the process could take some time. Number 4, consider all the costs. Number 5, get a home inspection and review it with your realtor. Keep these tips in mind, budget for yourself, and you'll be that much closer to making your dream of homeownership a reality. So reach out to me at 502-680-0953. NMLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
Want to suggest future episodes? Share your ghost, cryptid, or personal encounter stories? Or let us know how much you love or hate us. Reach out to us at newsworthywithstephenjerry.com.
And now, back to the story.
Jerry, tonight's story brings us to our current hometown, Lawrenceburg, Kentucky,
Very nice.
as we continue the Kentucky After Dark series. Anderson County puts the lore in Lawrenceburg. First off, the Anderson Hotel has been featured on multiple ghost hunter and paranormal shows, including Paranormal Lockdown. They even run an annual haunted house that's reported to be so terrifying that people typically don't make it out of the lobby. Another cryptid that's canon to this area, the legendary Bigfoot. Going all the way back to the late 1700s, they have reported sightings of the famously, hairy beast in Kentucky. The locals love their cryptids so much they have a Bigfoot expedition that you can embark on throughout the year. So still need to get your spooky steps in? The Lawrenceburg Ghost Walk will have you covered. Jerry, tonight's episode is brought to you by Ed Locke and USA Mortgage at 502-680-0953. USA Mortgage, the home of possibilities. And don't forget, Smoking Gun Jerky, Lincoln, Nebraska, online. Go online, you can check out 50 different varieties of jerky, great Christmas presents. They offer marinades, They offer seasonings and recipes to make your own jerky at home. And don't forget to use the code Cryptid10 for an amazing discount. And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.